Kellan, these guys have a lot of work ahead of them.
Yeah, they really do. And by the time the snow starts falling this afternoon, this garage behind me is going to be empty. All of those trucks and plows are going to be getting at this massive pile of salt right here, and they're going to be spreading this all over these roads here in mid-Michigan. And guys, if you see all of this pile, well, it's a lot of work to do.
It's tough, monotonous, and stressful.
But Bill Blanchard wouldn't have it any other way. He and others at road departments across the state are gearing up for the incoming weather.
We try to get the higher driven roads first, which is our primaries, and then we'll do our school runs and our locals and try to get all the schools, the buses, and the people safely to where they got to get to. It's a lot of roads, a lot of ground to cover. We're only one man, one truck per person.
And a ton of salt. Actually,
anywhere from 10 to 12 tons worth of salt.
It's a lot to haul and a lot for them to worry about as that winter storm heads this way.
So most of the time we'll end up splitting up the garages, and we'll always try to keep somebody or multiple trucks running through the storm to try to keep the roads open, to keep EMS and the fire department to get where they got to get as well. So we'll always have an influence on the road to keep them safe.
Blanchard with some advice for drivers if you do need to hit the roads this winter.
Just slow down and give yourself some extra room, and give the plows, if you see us out there, give us a little extra room. They are heavy, they are big, and we do slip around just as well as a vehicle.
Yeah, guys, so a lot of advice here. Number one, don't be salty when you see all of these trucks and plows on the road. Just give them time. They have a lot of work to do. Blanchard's been doing this for 15 years, and he tells me every storm is different. He's learning something new every time he gets behind the wheel. Live in Lansing, Kellan Buddy, News 10 Today.
All right. This is the first time in history that the UAW is striking against all three companies at the same time. This morning, News 10's Kellan Buddy is at a local plant this morning to tell us here how plants in mid-Michigan are being impacted now that the strike is officially on. Good morning, Kellan.
Yeah, good morning, Seth and Maureen. Right now here in mid-Michigan, local UAW workers will be working on expired contracts. But meanwhile, across the country, strikes are beginning. Take a look at your screen right now. In Michigan, workers in Wayne County are on strike at that Ford assembly plant like you guys just mentioned. They're also striking at that GM plant in Wentzville, Missouri, and Stellantis in Toledo, Ohio. Workers at these three plants are off the clock. 97% of UAW's 146,000 workers voted to authorize a strike last month, ramping up negotiations between them and the big three. And in the immediate hours after contracts have expired, it's clear neither side wants to give in. UAW President Shawn Fain shares how wages could be increased without it affecting leadership at all.
I think it's a joke. You know what? They could double our pay right now. Labor, the cost of labor that goes into a vehicle is 5% of the vehicle. They could double our wages, and they could not raise the price of vehicles, and they would still make billions of dollars. It's a lie like everything else that comes out of their mouth.
Fain goes on to say that those tensions would, quote, keep building if they don't come to the table for members, end quote. We'll be here all morning with the latest from the picket lines and those negotiations behind closed doors, and we are obviously keeping an eye out for everything happening here in mid-Michigan. Reporting live in Lansing, Kellan Buddy, News 10 Today.
My daughter, Alyssa, I say, is saving lives.
Alyssa Al-Hadef, one of 17 people shot and killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in February of 2018.
And as Alyssa's mother, I had no power to do anything that tragic day that she was murdered.
Now she's turning grief into action by spearheading Alyssa's Law, which would ensure schools have at least one panic alarm to alert to a campus emergency, like an evacuation, lockdown, or active shooter situation.
And anytime that I have to speak about Alyssa being shot 8 times in her English classroom on that tragic day, it's very painful. But you know, at the end of the day, in an emergency situation, we need to get help on the scene as quickly as possible.
And Al-Hadef has spoken to legislators across the country working to bring Alyssa's Law into practice. Earlier this month, she testified in front of the Michigan House Education Committee, and she's not the only one in support of Alyssa's Law.
The goal is to protect our children. And
that's State Representative Brenda Carter, who introduced the bills in March.
We had several shootings in Michigan, the Oxford shooting. We had my alma mater, Michigan State University. And I just think it's about time that we put something in place to protect our young people.
Carter testifying in the House earlier this week, facing questions about rural schools, universities, and local control over funding.
Is there some type of way we might be able to have a discussion that the money can stay with the school and they decide whether they get more technology and panic buttons or they get another security officer?
Carter recounts the hundreds of officers who waited more than an hour before stopping the shooter at Robb Elementary School in Texas last year.
But yet and still, 19 children and 2 teachers perished that day.
Alyssa's law now passed in 5 states, including Texas, Florida, and New York.
And this is Alyssa's law.
Michigan, one of several states on the way to join them.
We could craft something that works for everybody.
I know that telling others what happened to Alyssa will help to save lives.
These laser focused, can't even wait for it to get in. It's a very elegant solution for the problem of a leftover Christmas tree. What do you do with it?
You could chop it up, leave it on the curb, or burn it. Don't burn it. Or you could bring it to the Mitten Misfits Sanctuary Farm in Grand Ledge.
Well, it turns out that these used Christmas trees can be excellent source of nutrition for our animals.
It's just like a big salad.
They look forward to Christmas every year, and so they are anxiously awaiting the first batch of Christmas trees.
Unlike a kid staring down a plate of vegetables, they gobble those trees right up.
It's hilarious. It's just like a cartoon. You see that fish skeleton after the person ate the fish, and those trees look exactly like that. They'll be out there, and it'll be the skeleton of a tree with not an ounce of greenery on it. It actually gives them a big dose of vitamin C, which of course everybody needs in the winter. It provides them a lot of nutrition, and it's a great way to repurpose your Christmas tree.
And what doesn't get eaten gets turned into mulch.
Well, essentially 100% repurpose a tree.
It's all in an effort to help their animals and the environment.
Look for somebody who's going to use it. If it's us or anybody else, it'd be wonderful, but repurpose it, and I think everybody's better for it.
In Grand Ledge, I'm Kellan Buddy, News 10.
Extra, extra, get your nose, boy!
This is our Super Bowl. This is what we work towards all year long.
It comes around only once a year, Sale Day. The old newsboys are out on the streets of Lansing.
So if you see guys like Logan and the old newsboys hawking around the Lansing Spoof Journal, just know it's going to a great cause.
For any donation and raise that money for shoes and boots and socks for kids.
Shoes and boots for kids. Thank you very much.
It's a tradition that dates back nearly a century. The newsboys working with the Lansing State Journal.
Back in the day, they just wanted something fun and lighthearted that the community would enjoy, to give them a laugh. It just kind of allows you to escape a little bit. It's some good entertainment.
For board members like Claire Core,
I stick around because I love the cause so much, and we've got such a great group of people.
Knowledge, the old newsboys are making a difference in mid-Michigan.
What's really neat is when we have our float at the parades, the kids jump up and down and say, I got my boots from you, I got my boots from you. I was just in Mason the other day, and a elderly lady said, the old newsboys helped me during the Depression. And to know that I'm still a part of that and I can carry that tradition forward is just such a loving thought.
Hurry, hurry, get off the press!
In Lansing, Kellan Buddy, News 10.